All right. Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. And welcome to session 16, week 8 of the data science program. And I'm excited as usual to have us all here. It's been a long ride, and we are almost rounding up with the program, right? So you should actually be proud of yourself if you've been able to stick up until this point. It shows that you are really committed, and you are able to stick to what you put your mind to, especially something of this nature. Data science is really not an easy it's actually not an easy course or an easy career to actually enter into and acquire the skills needed. But you've been able to stay committed for over 8 weeks now. That is going to 2 months. So if you're not proud of yourself, I'm actually proud of you. So you should actually keep it up. We are not done yet. We are actually almost done. So today we are going to continue from where we stopped in yesterday's class. We'll be rounding up with data visualization today, and we'll start this third part of this program from next week. So it's getting interesting, isn't it? Right? It's actually getting very interesting. I would actually have to say that as we progress, basically, we are going into a new level of difficulty and new challenges. So just expect the third part to be more challenging than this. It's actually going to be interesting, right? So definitely, it's expected, as I explained when we were starting this program, that you should see this program as climbing a mountain. At the bottom of the mountain, you are just starting out. We are really not expending any energy. Everything is going very well, smooth and all of that. But as you progress with the climb, you begin to reach an altitude where you lose your breath, the situation gets tougher and all of that. So it's only those that are resilient enough that will make it to the top. And definitely there is always a reward that comes with it, which is getting a whole new skill. So, and this skill is a marketable skill, which you can build on and then exchange the value you have for money. So definitely you are not wasting your time, right? You are definitely not wasting your time. The time you are putting, the commitment you are putting, they are just investments you are making that will give you a good ROI in the future. It might not be now, it might not be tomorrow, it might not be in a month's time, but definitely as you press on, you are going to get your reward. So I just want to say this to encourage you all, in case you are probably tired or the whole thing is stressing you out and you are losing interest or you are being discouraged. So I believe, or I hope this will just stir you up a little and help you to press further with this program. So I was once like you 2 years ago. I was actually putting a lot of effort into learning and into trying to acquire the skills, right? So time is just the difference between where you are currently and where you want to be. And the only thing that will help you get to that place is just consistently doing what you're doing. All right. So I just want to encourage you all with this. So we'll continue from where we stopped in the last class. So yeah, good afternoon once again. Today as you see as a title on the video, for this video, this session, it's data visualization continued. So we'll be wrapping up with visualization and everything that has to do with EDA, visualization, Pandas, matplotlib. We are going to wrap up with them. So we're wrapping up with data analysis basically today. From next week, we're going to start with machine learning. And I must say something that we are lagging behind in terms of the topics. By now, well, we should actually have started machine learning. Due to some reasons, we are not. But it's not an issue. What I just want to ensure is that we are getting what we are supposed to get from the classes, right? As long as that is there, I really don't mind, because we are definitely going to find a way to wrap up with the curriculum. All right. So we might have to maybe fix extra classes outside of our normal schedule, or we'll probably extend the time. We might start doing Saturdays to be 3 hours instead of 2 hours. So we'll probably do 3 to 6 instead of 3 to 5, and we'll just try to cover up with as much in our curriculum, so we don't have anything left behind by the time the timeline for this program is elapsed. All right. So let me share my screen. So we'll just go straight to what we have for today. All right, so can everyone see my screen? Can you see my screen? So today is going to be a very interactive class. All right. Yeah, yesterday's video it would be made available. Yeah, it will be made available very soon. Definitely. So let's hopefully by today, before today ends, the video will be made available. Okay, so let's push on. Let's move on. Let's move on. Let's move on. All right. That's great. So we'll continue from where we stopped from yesterday's class. We actually looked at, let me see if I can just open my, all right, so this was what we did yesterday, basically. We looked at data visualization with matplotlib, right? We explained what matplotlib, and I just explained some few things that you needed to know. All right, and I also talked about how to import matplotlib. Like I told us how we import specific module from matplotlib that would be using to plot our chart, and not just importing matplotlib as a whole. All right, so we also looked at okay, we also looked at how we can style and change our style, matplotlib style, right? Depending on what we want to do. I gave you the different methods and attributes. So to know the available styles, you just come and say style.available, and then you can see the styles here. And then it's going to apply the style to all the charts you're going to be creating moving forward. So we showed us some example of how we can plot some charts, like line charts, bar charts, scatter plots, pie chart, and histogram. So these are some of the few things we did, and we also looked at how we can customize our chart, the different arguments, different parameters that we're going to be using to customize our chart. We also looked at the core concept in matplotlib, the figure, the axis, the plot, and the artist object, and all of that. So I believe with yesterday's class, I know the video is not available yet, but it's just a little bit delay on that. So we're going to be having that available, and I want to encourage us to just go through the video once again, so you can cement what you learned already from yesterday's class. And I want to say this again. Please, I'm encouraging every one of us to be active on LinkedIn, right? Specifically on LinkedIn. There's this person, I'm trying to remember the person's name. If you are here in the live class, can you just signify? The person usually posts some things on LinkedIn and actually tag me as well. So it's very commendable. It's okay. I think it's Justice. Yeah, Justice. I think I can remember. You are the one that do tag me on LinkedIn, and you tag CareerEx as well. It's very, very commendable. Like I want to encourage you to keep it up. Even after this CareerEx, you can just continue with just putting yourself out there. Basically, there was this period of during my learning period, I do embark on challenges like 100 days of data science, 30 days of data analytics, and all of that. And I do that consistently, right? It kind of gives you a very good, solid image on LinkedIn, right? So let me just quickly just talk a little about branding yourself. So as a tech person, your skills are not enough to get you what you want. Unless your father owns a company, or you have an uncle, or you have someone, or your friend is the CEO of a company, then you don't have to do anything. But as long as you are just there, you don't really have any connection, but you have the skills. The best thing for you is to push yourself, make yourself visible, market yourself, sell yourself online. And the best place to do that is online. Social media has made it very easy for us to connect with a lot of people that we might not even see physically, right? So it has bridged that gap for us. Now, we don't really have to do much work, but just sit down at the comfort of your home with internet connection on your smartphone and then sell yourself. So most people get jobs from LinkedIn. All right, there's a job I have currently. I got LinkedIn. The person, the network just went out. Can everyone still hear me? Network went out just for a while here. Can you hear me? Please let me know. Let me know. All right. So as I was saying, there's a job I have currently. It was from LinkedIn I got it. I didn't have to do anything for it. I just made sure my LinkedIn is optimized. Everything is there, my experience, my certificate, and all of that. And I got a message on LinkedIn asking if I want to join their team. And just like that, I got that particular job. So it's not. We are not trying to exaggerate when we talk about the importance of selling yourself out there. If I had not been able to position myself, right, build my LinkedIn profile, make it appealing, and putting all my experience and everything out there for people to see, I would not have, the person probably would not have noticed me or seen me. So this is a way to sell yourself. You don't know when the opportunity is going to come your way, but the best you can do is to position yourself so that it will be easier for you to get those opportunities. All right. So I'm just in a mood to encourage us today. So please, for those of us that are not doing this, please just give it a second thought, right? Getting the skill is not enough. Trust me. Like this learning phase is the easiest part of tech, of anything basically. The learning phase is the easiest. The hardest part is actually landing a job or getting a job. You have to convince people, tell them that, yeah, you know this, you actually know how to do this, that. So it's the hardest part of this whole career stuff. So, but the easiest part is learning, right? So if you don't understand the strategies to use after learning to land a job, it will be very, very difficult for you. So this is just one of them here. Try to make yourself visible on LinkedIn, right? If probably I have an opening, an open role, and I'm looking for a data scientist, right? I'm definitely going to pick someone that is I see constantly, right? If I open my LinkedIn and I see this person, right, and I see that this person is usually posting data science related stuff, like that's the first person that will come to my mind. That's if around me I don't really have anybody that would fit that role. The person would come to my mind first. So you can see how visibility and putting yourself out there is very, very important. So please, Justice, you're doing very well. Please keep it up. I really don't know if you relented because I don't see your post again, but keep it up with what you've been doing so far. And every one of us too, let's try to do that as well. All right. So there's no being introvert. There's no introvert in tech at all. If you want to make it in tech, you just have to come out of your comfort zone and do what you have to do. So that's okay. You do post. Okay. Don't just tag me. That's fine. All right, that's fine. So let's move on to the business of the day. So today we are going to continue with what we did. So I've gone through some of them already. So now we looked at how we can plot line chart, right? How we can plot bar chart and customize it and all of that. So today we are going to be doing almost the same thing. We're going to be doing it with a data set. All right. So yesterday we just created created custom data and demonstrated that we can actually use matplotlib. But today we'll be using a data set All right. It's because we are going to see how to extract those data from the data set and use it in plotting our graph. All right. So let's kick off. Let's go straight to the business. So let me open up. I think I'll just have to continue from here. All right. So let me just continue from here. Right. Okay. So I will make this. I will zoom in a little. Okay, so today we're going to be creating chart from a data set, and we'll be using a new data set called retail transaction data set. So first thing first, I'm going to import my libraries. And I'm actually going to also, we're going to look at working with datetime data, because we didn't, it was included in the material, Pandas material, but we didn't look at it. So I'm going to use the opportunity to look at how we can work with datetime data in Pandas. All right. So we're going to just be jumping from Pandas to matplotlib. Actually, that is basically how you do data analysis in Python. You import Pandas, you import matplotlib, and you import NumPy, you import Seaborn. So these libraries are what you use, right? You use them together when you want to analyze your data using Python. So I'm going to have to just import them. Import Pandas as what? PD. I'm going to say from matplotlib import by plot. Okay, so let's import NumPy as well. Let's import NumPy. Import NumPy as NP. So, because I might probably use NumPy as we proceed. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is to import our data. Import our data set. Today we'll be using a retail's transaction data set. So data is going to be retail transaction.csv. So I'm going to come here and say df equals the pd.data frame. I'm going to just come here and pull my data, or I can just name this file. For a program I think my head is hot this afternoon. Thank you very much. So it's read CSV. Can you imagine? I'm just typing rubbish. Thank you was that rookie for correction. So you use read CSV actually, not data frame. So you read your file and you then come here and check your file. So you can see our data frame here has several columns and rows. So we want to understand what this data frame is all about, how many rows we have and all of that. So I can come and just say shape, but let me use shape first. So you can see this data set has 100,000 rows and 10 columns. Okay, so the data set is already available in your. Okay, Jeremy, thank you for that. I didn't add the RIRs for 5+. Wow, thank you. I think at this point, I'm just going to be the student and you'll be my teacher because you all are actually doing very well. So we have 100,000 rows here, okay, and we have 10 columns. So this should give you an idea of how large and how big the data set is. So the data set is available on the materials group. I sent it already. So in case you want to follow with what we are doing, you can just download the data set and then work with us. Okay, all right. So this is the shape of our data set. And now we're going to look at the info. Come and say df.info. So you can see the columns here. We have this number of entries, and then we have 10 columns. So these are the columns. We have customer ID, we have product ID, we have quantity, we have price, we have transaction date, we have payment method, we have store location, we have product category, we have discount applied, we have total amount. So this is a typical data set that you probably come across. This is sales data set basically, right? So what the data set is all about is storing customer records, right? So whenever a customer make any purchase, a row is created for that customer. So a customer ID is created together with all the other information about that particular purchase. So the product ID, the product that the person purchased, would be stored. The quantity, how many products did the customer purchase, the total price, the transaction date when the purchase was made, the payment method that was used, the store location, product category, the discount applied to that particular purchase, and the total amount. So I feel this total amount is after the discount. All right, so we have the original price here, and we have discount. So I think I believe that is what this total amount is here. So this is our data set. You can see that it's using about 7.6 MB. So the data set is quite large, right? The original file size is around 12 MB. If you check on the group, around 12.2 MB. So you can see that it's actually a large data set. So we're going to be using that in demonstrating how we can perform EDA and visualize our data set. All right. So let's move on. So we can see the data types here. We have 4 of the columns to be float, 1 of the columns to be integer, and then 5 of our columns to be categorical variables. All right. Are we following? Can everyone hear me clearly? All right, perfect. So we'll proceed with understanding our data set. So we've understood what our data set is all about. So this info function or method is actually enough to give you a good idea of your data set. So, but you've not seen the content yet. So to see your content, you can just say df.head. Now that you understand the different columns, so you can see it now. Oh, this is a customer ID. Each customer has a unique ID. And we have product ID as well. So this is a categorical variable. So we have a limited number of products with ID attached to each of them. So we have quantity. So this quantity, this should actually be in integer, right? So it doesn't make sense for quantity to be in float. So we'll probably maybe convert this to an integer, but it's not a priority now. So this is a price. So this should be in dollars. All right. We are not giving the particular currency, but this should be in dollars. This is the price of our product. This is the day in which the product, the transaction was made. So 2023 by so and so time. The payment method was cash. All right. This is store location, the particular store location. So this is the product category. All right. So the category in which the category of the product is in books category. So the customer likely purchased a book, and this is our discount, 18% discount, 18.7% discount applied, and this is the total amount. Remember that this price here is for a single, is a single product, so you have to multiply the price and the quantity here to give you the total amount, and then you probably take off this discount. So we are not doing all this accounting stuff and all of that. We just want to understand our data. So that's why, remember when we first introduced data science tools, I talked about domain knowledge, all right? I talked about having an understanding of the business where you are working or where you are doing your analysis. So if you are working on this kind of data set, you should understand the underlying idea behind sales data. You should know what discounts mean. You should know what all the columns here signify and all of that. So you should just have a basic understanding of sales, right? Generally. So you don't just come without a knowledge of sales and you want to analyze it. You should have a good knowledge. You don't necessarily have to have a PhD in sales, but you just need to have basic knowledge to be able to understand what exactly you are doing. If it requires you to go and meet some domain expert or do research to understand some concept, that's fine, all right? But yes, the main thing is that you need to understand the domain you are working in. If this is a healthcare data, you can't analyze it without understanding healthcare information or different variables in healthcare. Okay, so because there are a lot of data in healthcare that is not that the general public don't understand. That is not a general knowledge. So you have to drill down and understand exactly what those variables signify. So as a data analyst, one of the skills you should possess is what? Curiosity and flexibility. So you should be flexible in your ability to learn new things and curious enough to also understand new information. So those are very, very important traits of a data analyst or a data science. Exactly. Business understanding. You have to understand your business well enough, like to a good extent, right? So that's just by the way. So this is the data we are going to be working with. So we'll just be looking at how we can just replicate the different charts we created yesterday with this our data set. All right. So let's proceed. So what can we do here? So we're going to start looking at how we can. I'm going to do some few things. First of all, I don't like the way these columns are. All right. I don't like the way these columns are. I want to change these columns to all of them to be lowercase, right? Because when I'm trying to reference the columns, I might not know which one is capital letter and which one is small letter. So I don't want everything to have a uniform casing. So I'm just going to change everything that we have in this our column to a small. I'm going to change them to a small case. But before that, I also like to rename my columns because the names that I have here, they are kind of long. All right, so I want to rename my columns. So I don't know if I showed us previously how to rename columns in Pandas. Did I? Please, can someone just bring us back to that? Did I show us how we can rename columns in Pandas? Not changing case this time, renaming of columns. All right, okay. So can someone remind us of the particular method we use to rename our columns? Oh, someone is saying the data in the file is different from mine. How exactly do you mean? Let's see. There's exact data I sent. What exactly is different? Sadiq Barajo, can you anyways, we're not going to be doing all of those troubleshooting in the live class, but okay, someone said it's the same. So probably you imported a different data set. Check again to be sure. All right, so back to renaming our column. Okay, great. So I think I showed us exactly how to rename our columns. So now we are going to rename our columns, and we're going to use the df.rename columns method. All right, so I have it here. Let's have it here. So I'm going to come here and say, let me get the names of all my columns first. I'm going to say columns. So these are my column names here. We have customer ID, product ID, quantity, price, transaction, date, and all of that. So I want to rename my columns. So I will come here and say, renaming my columns. So to rename your columns, you basically just say df.rename. So if you don't know exactly what the parameters to put, just shift tab. You're going to see everything we have here. So what you're going to be doing or using here is your columns parameters here. You can scroll down. So this is the columns parameter. So it is a dictionary-like or function alternative to specifying ID. So if you're renaming a lot of columns, you are going to put them in a dictionary. So the dictionary in this case is going to be mapping the old column name to the new column name. So for our old column name, you are going to have it as your key, while your new column name will be your value. All right. So I'm going to come here and say columns equal to dictionary. All right. So this is basically how it's going to be. Now I'm going to just copy my columns here. Customer ID first. All right. And I want to change this to just ID. I'm just use one, just ID. Second one here is what? Product ID. I'm going to change this to prod ID. Let me just change this to. Well, let me have this as ID because this is the main ID, so I don't need to specify customer ID or anything. So the third one here is quantity. So I don't think I need to change that. It's fine. Price, I don't need to change price. Transaction date is long, so I'm going to change transaction date. So I come here and copy transaction date, paste, and just have it as what? Date. So the next one is going to be payment method. So I'll change this, definitely. I'll change this to method. Just method. So you guys analyzing data should know exactly what it is. This is just to help you to avoid typing lengthy columns. So I can come here and just put location instead of location. Let's say it's not descriptive enough. Let's just say let me leave it as leave that store location. Leave that location, yeah. Okay. So all right. Someone suggested something, so let me go with that. It says store lock. All right, let's just have that. So let me put the underscore there. So and the other one we have here is category. So I'm going to have what? Product category. Let me just say category. All right. Let me just say category. No need to put product category there. So we have discount applied. So this one we obviously have to change it because you can't come and be typing percentage every time. So I'll just say discount. Discount, all right. Then total amount. I think I'm going to leave this total amount. Yeah, I think total, because if I put amount, is really not very descriptive enough. So let me just leave it as total amount. So just make sure when you are changing your column names, the new names are descriptive enough to tell you exactly what that column is, right? So it doesn't lose its meaning. So these are the changes I'm going to be making. So if I do this, you see that we are going to have something like this. You can see that the column names have changed for the particular columns that we specified. All right. So that is not everything we are going to be doing. So let's just assign it to our DF. So I can either come here and say, I don't know if in place work or rename, but let me see. In place, it was true. All right, so that is it for rename. So if you come to check your df.columns again, you see that we've changed column name. So this is a data cleaning process. So we're actually literally cleaning our data. All right. So we are literally cleaning our data. And another thing, please feel free to make suggestions in the live chat, right? I usually don't take them for granted. So feel free to make suggestions. If there's anything I'm doing that you feel can be done better, please feel free to do that. So yeah, it's going to help you actually. So these are the columns that we've changed. So now I also want to make this casing uniform for all our columns. So to do that, I'm going to quickly just use the function that we've looked at before, df.columns dot what dot string dot lower. So I want to make everything in a lowercase. All right, I want to make everything in lowercase. So you can see that I've brought everything to a lowercase, and they're looking consistent, more consistent now, and even shorter. So I will just assign this to df.columns. All right, so I've done that for the column. So I think we are good to go. If I come here and I say df.head, I can see the different columns that we have. All right. So that's going to be it. Emmanuel is saying the values alignment is not fantastic. I don't know what you mean by alignment, but I think we are actually good to go. So if you can explain more what you mean, that would be fine. So let's just forge ahead. So now we're going to be working with our individual columns. So we're going to look at the different columns we have here. So there's something I want to show us. Like now we have according to this thing we have here, we have 5 out of our 10 columns. 5 of them are what? Numerical values, right? And 5 of them are categorical variables. So I actually want to select from our columns only those columns that are numerical columns. So there's actually a function in Pandas to do that. I want to select columns that are just numeric and columns that are just categorical variables. So okay, I'm trying to look at what's being said on the group. Okay, what I mean when I said you should make suggestions is that what it should be based on what I am currently or what I have explained, right? As far as I've not explained it, there's a possibility that I'm still going to explain, so we don't jump and we don't go too fast. I'm going to still come to look at the individual columns and how to work with our datetime variables, all right? So like, let's just focus on what we are doing. Anyone I do, and you feel like I missed something and all of that, you can just bring me back to it. That was what I meant, not necessarily pushing forward to ask, how can we do this? How can we do that? We're going to still come to so many other things. So when I would appreciate this is probably when we are done with class and I didn't mention something like that, then you can bring it up as a question, right? So we don't distract ourselves here and go and go ahead of ourselves. All right, so we're going to quickly examine each of our columns here, our variables. So we have the ID. So this ID variable is, well, whenever you say ID variable, it's useless basically in analysis. We don't use ID variable for anything. So what we use are those variables that really have meanings, right? That carries meaning. So we'll probably not be using this ID variable. You can drop it, but I'll just leave it here, right? So, but what I said is that I want to like select those variables that are numerical and those that are categorical. So how do I do that? I'm going to come here and say selecting numerical variables. All right. So to do that, there's a function in Pandas that is select data type, dtypes, select the types. I'm be sure I am correct with this. Select the type. All right, let's select the types. Okay, it should be df, not pd. df. Okay, exactly. So we have what we call select the types, all right? So you can just come here and do shift type. So what it does is that it returns a subset of data frames column based on the column data type, all right? So we have two parameters, include and exclude. So you can use either of these to determine the kind of columns that you want to select or variables. So if I come here and say include, and I want to include all numerical variables, how do I do that? I'm going to basically just either I can come here and just put number in a bracket. So once you put number, Pandas should understand what exactly you mean, because this value here would point at the kind of data type that you want to like include. All right. So if I come here and I run it, you see that it returns only those variables that are numerical. All right, you can see that quantity, price, discount, data amount, they are the numerical variables that we have here. If I come and I say exclude number, you see that it returns those variables that are not numerical. So you can see how you can start working with your data frame. So there are a lot of things to do that you can do in Pandas, right? You can see that we haven't done this one before, so I'm just introducing it now. So you can use exclude and include to remove or select a particular data type. So in this case, I'll just be saying, I can use include as well. I can use include and still say objects. You can say it's going to give me this. If I say exclude object, to give me this. So I can also use numpy. NumPy, but let me just continue with this first. So let's still look at other values that you can put here. You can put integer. All right, you can see our integer. You can put float. To give you just this one that are float, you can put category actually. Category. Right, there is no category here, basically just object. You can put date time. You don't have any date time. So we are going to look at how we can work with date time. You might be asking now that I thought we actually have a date time variable here. If you look at this data frame, you see there's a date variable. This should be a date time, and you should be returning that particular variable. But when you read a particular CSV file into Pandas, Pandas does not automatically convert the datetime variables unless you do it by yourself. So you can actually manually convert it yourself. So which I'm going to show you how to do. It's actually very, very straightforward, right? But that's basically it. You see that when you put datetime here, you're not going to see anything. So let's quickly just convert it first before we like proceed. So let's convert so now we are actually working with date times. All right, so we're actually looking at how we can work with date time data types. Working with date time data type in Pandas. All right. So the way we can do that is just to get that particular data type that's in Pandas. That's our datetime variable. Come and say df. Let me just use a bracket dot date. This is it, right? So we want to convert this particular column to a datetime data type. So I'll just come here and say pd dot datetime. Then we're going to put that particular column. Let me be sure. Yeah, you're going to put that particular column. So I'll come here and say df dates. All right. So this is the this is our data. The argument it takes is the column that is supposed to be your datetime column. So either you pass it to your old column or you create a new column. So if I create a new column, I'll just say new date. It will add the new column. But if I just make it date, it's going to replace it with our original column or the existing column. So if I do this, it's saying, okay, to datetime, not datetime. So it should be to datetime. All right, so this is the function we are going to use to convert our columns to datetime. So to underscore datetime, not just datetime. So if I come here and I rerun my columns, can come here and just rerun info. You see that now this particular date variable has been converted to what datetime data type. All right. So you can now start performing datetime operations, time series operations on that particular variable. The original variable would not allow you, the data type of the original variable would not allow you to perform some datetime functionalities. But this one that we converted will now give you access to perform all of those things. So you can see that we've added a new data type here, which is datetime, all right? And then we have datetime 64.1 and then the rest of the data types. So that's basically how you can convert a datetime variable. So make sure that when you have, before you do that, you make sure that that particular variable is a datetime variable. It might just be date, all right, or it might just be time, but you just have some datetime elements in the column as values, all right? So that's basically how you can convert or work with datetime variable. So let's move ahead, let's proceed. So if I come here and I say include datetime, you see that it now gives me that particular variable, all right? So this particular method is used to select specific data types from our data frame, all right? So let's proceed. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to say number, let's say exclude number. Exclude number. You can come and I say df categories or df cat. And I can come here and say df num. df dot select data types. Make sure you don't replace it with your original data type, all right? So I come and say include equals to what number. All right, so that's going to be it. So if I come and I say df cats, you see we have just the categorical variables here, and I say df num. Just don't mind in this time variable. So df num, yeah. All right, so this is basically it. Let's drop the id. I don't see this id variable as any useful variable. So let's just drop it. Let's say df num dot drop. And what am I going to specify when I want to drop a particular column? What's the first thing to specify? Have we forgotten how to use our drop function? What is the first thing to specify? When we say drop, Pandas does not automatically know where we want to drop from. Let me just give you that as a hint. Pandas does not know where you want to drop from. So it should be asking, am I dropping from the row? Or am I dropping from the column? So this should be a hint. What do you think will be the first parameter we are going to? Thank you very much, Abdul Muiz Sulaiman. Axis should be our first parameter, right? So we have to like indicate the axis we want to drop from. Okay, we need to indicate it. So if you come here and just say shift tab, you see that we have axis here. All right, so by default, our axis is what? 0. And if we don't specify any axis and we put our column name ID here, Pandas will be looking at the column, at the row index for ID. And it will not the ID, and it will give us the column. Let's even try it. So I come here and I say ID. You see that it will be looking for ID in our row because the axis by default is 0. So if it does not see ID, it's going to throw us an error. And the reason why it's taking time is because we have a lot of rows. We have 100,000 rows. So it will be searching for ID in all of the rows that we have in our data set. So it will probably not see it, and it's going to like return an error. All right, so you can see that it has returned an error. And what error is it saying? ID not found in axis, because it looked at axis 0, which is our row. It needs ID as an index or as a label, and then it returned an error. So we have to specify the axis as we want to drop from axis what equals to 1, which is our column. So if we do this and we run it, what is missing here? Okay, columns actually. So I'm going to put columns here. Columns. So if we do this, it's going to basically drop our ID variable. So it looked at the axis 1 and it found this ID and it dropped it. Very simple and very straightforward. You're not stressed in Python, you're not stressed in Pandas, everyone is happy. All right. So to make this permanent, I'll just put in place what equal to true. So I'm dropping that, right? So I'm just bringing it out again. Let me see my numerical, what am I even doing? So df underscore num. So you can see that we now have just this value. So now we can now start performing some operations on these different columns. So we can come in and we can say we want to like get the correlation. All right. So since everything is numerical value, it's going to give us a correlation between each of the variables. All right. We're going to give us a correlation between each of the variables. So since they are all numerical variables, you're going to get something like this. So let me use the original df to do this correlation stuff. So you see that we'll probably land in an error, right? Because could not convert string to float. This is because some of the data types, the variables there, are not numerical data types, and correlation is usually performed on numerical data type. So you can see now the importance of separating your data types or your variables into their specific data types, so you can perform some specific operations on them. But you still have your original data frame. So just make sure that you are keeping track of the different data frames you are creating. All right, so you don't confuse it and you don't end up like discarding it or modifying it and like not being able to revert the whole thing, right? So this is how you can separate your data, your variables into their different data types. All right, so let's proceed. So for correlation, you might probably want to understand how each of the numerical variable is correlated with each other. What is this? All right, so you can see that, of course, quantity and quantity would have a perfect correlation. Quantity and price have a very low positive correlation. Quantity and discount have a very low negative correlation. Quantity and total amount has a high correlation. And this is an obvious stuff because the higher the quantity, the higher the total amount that you're going to have. So as quantity is increasing, the total amount increases. So that's what correlation means. So the correlation will be high. So just to let you know, the value of correlation is between 0 and 1. All right. So if you perform a correlation analysis, it should be between 0 and 1. So 1 basically means it has a path. Sorry, correlation is between -1 and +1, not 0 and 1. It is from -1 and what? +1. So you can have a negative sign. Negative sign basically means it is negative correlated, which means, before I say, let me just know if any of us know what negative correlation is. So can someone tell us what negative correlation is? Or does anybody know? What does negative correlation mean? So I'm just trying to chip in some statistics into this entire stuff, so you have an idea, you have one or two ideas. Exactly. It's a downtrend, it's an inverse relationship. So for negative correlation, what you are saying is that as this particular thing is increasing, as this particular variable is increasing, the other variable is what? Decreasing. Thank you, Justice. If one is increasing, the other is decreasing. That is what negative correlation is. Why for positive correlation? As one is increasing, the other one is following it to increase as well. All right. So your correlation can be strong in either the positive side or what, the negative side. So you can have a strong positive correlation, or you can have a strong negative correlation, either of the two. So the correlation will actually tell you or give you an idea about some of your variables. So when you are starting to analyze real life data, all these things, all these values you are seeing, they will make sense, they will have meaning. Like, that's when you start to appreciate the analysis you are doing. The reason why the thing is just like this is because this stuff that we are doing doesn't really have a real life impact. It's not affecting a business. It's not like giving your manager something to use to make decision, right? So that is why you are really not appreciating it like that. But when you start to perform real life analysis, knowing that what you are doing is going to actually have an impact on the business, then the value you'll be getting would make more sense, or we have more meaning to them. All right, so that's just about correlation. All right, so obviously the diagonal aspect of your table, your correlation matrix, is always going to be 1, 1, 1, because you are correlating the variable with itself. So if you correlate quantity with quantity, the same values will always be a perfect one. Correlate price with price, always be a perfect one, and all of that. So that's it about correlation. So I'm just like chipping in some random stuff so you can see the power of Pandas and how you can do some stuff in Pandas. So now, since we've converted our date time variable to actual date time, then the correlation value cannot be more than 1. It can never be more than 1 or lesser than -1, right? It is always between 1 and +1. Sorry, -1 and +1. That is just it. So just keep that at the back of your mind. So let's go on to start to create chart and do some other stuff in using Pandas. All right, so we've been able to like convert our date time. All right, so now we're going to like start to extract several stuff from our date time variable. Okay, so there's also another variable here. Let's see. So now we're going to go back to our df variable. I've actually demonstrated one of the things you can use the separated variables for. So let's go back to our original variable. So now in our original variable, there are some variables that I don't really need. So first of all is ID, then store location. We're not using this store location for anything since we are not creating any map. So this store location can be used, potentially used to create a map chart, but we're not doing that. So we are also going to be removing, I think that is just these two variables. So I'm going to come here and say df.drop. I'm going to specify the axis. Axis is equal to 1, and then columns. We're going to have ID. We're going to have store location. All right, so we can see that we've dropped those two. We've dropped ID and we've dropped store location. I hope everyone is still following. Can we also see my screen clearly? Can you hear my voice clearly? And are you still following the class? Can anyone still hear me? All right. All right, that's fine. So we're going to work with the original data frame now. And also, I want to change the data type for this quantity to integer because I don't like having it in decimal place. Quantity is supposed to be integer, a whole number. All right, so we're going to change it to integer. So just so that anything, most likely anything you can think of in Pandas, you can actually do it. Let's say 90% of the things you can think of, you can do it. So I want to change this thing. So the way to do it is just to use a method called as type. So I want to change the data type of quantity column or variable. So it was initially float. I want to change it to like integer. So I'll just call that particular column, which is quantity, and then I'm going to use this here quantity, and then use as type. So as type is the particular method you're going to use, and it's going to take let's see, it's going to take the data type as a value. So let's see it here as type. It takes the data type as value, and then it casts a pandas object to specify data type. So let's see if it works. So again, we'll just it should not be string. Let me check. I'm sure it shouldn't be a string. What exactly is this error saying? Cannot convert non-finite values. Okay. So basically, we can someone just tell me what this error basically mean, or what happened in the process of this conversion? I know I'm not really like, this is just something that should make you think outside of the box. Like, can someone just look at this error and tell me exactly why it is giving us this particular error? If you can read error messages very well, you are going to actually be good at debugging. Okay, someone said patient. I think there are empty rows found in there. Yeah, you're almost correct, but I don't think that's the right empty cells. Yeah, empty cells, yeah, is correct, but it's what we call null values. They are called null values. They are actually not empty. All right. Technically, they are not empty. They are called null values. So there's a value they used to represent missing values. So what you say is they are missing values, right? Or in our rows, right? So basically, that is just it. And I can see that most of us got it, which is very, very, very like very encouraging. So yeah, so we have missing values. So what do you think we should do now before we can do this conversion? We have to what? Drop the missing value. So I don't have time to start like replacing missing value because of time. I will just have to drop them. So I'll just come here and drop the missing values. So let's see our missing values. Let's see. We say df dot is null, and then I'm going to say sum. So you can see that we have missing values in our quantity variable. We have 9 missing values there. All right. So we have price, we have 9, we have 28 here. So let's just drop it for the sake. This is not a data cleaning class. I've already showed us how we can clean our data. So to just do this particular thing here, I'll just have to drop it. So come here, drop NA. I'm going to say let's see. Well, I think it's better is fill the NA rather. I'm just fill it. Fill NA. So for quantity, so I'll just fill it with the mean. I'll just come and see df. But the problem now is that the mean. Okay. What I'm going to use, should I use, because the mean is going to be in decimal place, and I don't want decimal place. So let's see what I'm going to do here. I'm going to say round, or I'm going to just say integer, all right? Okay, don't worry. Let me just do it first. So I'm going to go say min. So it's basically going to replace our missing values. So this should be in place equals to true. All right. So now, if I run this again, we have 0 missing values, right? So if I check my quantity data of values, you're going to see that at some point we are going to have like let me just try to see. Let me just check it. We're going to have decimal values. So let me see df, and I'm going to say quantity. I'm going to say sample. Let me just make it 10 samples. All right, let me do it again. Okay, that means the mean value will probably not have been a decimal value. That's fine. That's actually fine. So you can see how the kind of thought process that goes on when you're analyzing the data. So you kind of track back and ensure that what you want to do, or because of what you want to do, you have to make sure that you've done something previous and all of that. So it's just like an iterative process and all of that. So let's quickly do this again. And you see that it worked, all right? It didn't give us an error because there is no missing value again. So let's check df.head. So you can now see that our quantity what is now, I think I dropped this thing here, store location. So I didn't do it in place. Have you seen photos of in place? All right, so let's go back here. Okay, you can see now that we have our quantity to be in decimal value, which makes more sense, all right? So let's now proceed with our analysis or our visualization, basically. So I hope everyone is still following. And am I too fast or am I too slow or is my pace okay? I need feedback, please. I need more feedbacks. I want more people to actually participate in this our conversation. It is low. I should go faster. Hey, Justice, hey, what's happening? Want me to enter ×2 speed? Are you sure you'll be able to catch up? A little bit fast. Pace is good. Pace is normal. Pace is good. All right, I think the pace is good generally. I just want to be sure that you all are following with what I'm saying, because the essence of this is that I'm able to convey information appropriately and you're able to understand it. So now, I also think that this decimal point in this price, it's actually too much. Like, we have a lot of decimal places, and I just want it to be like, let's say maximum 2 decimal place, or 1 decimal place set. So I want to convert these numerical values to 1 decimal place. So it's possible, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just come here and say, create a new cell. All right. So rounding all the decimal values to 1 decimal place. All right. So what am I going to do? I'm going to pick each of the columns. So the first one is DF price. And now there's something I want to do. I want to use for loop. I just thought of it now. I want to use for loop to do this because we have three of those variables. I don't want to do them one by one. So just to make this interesting. So how can we do that with for loop? For what I'm going to do, I'm just going to like create a list, columns. I'll say columns, and I'll put the column names there: price, discount, and what total amount. All right. So now I want to loop over it and perform the same operation on it. So I'll say for column in columns, df column equals to what? Round df df column. Oh no, it should be okay. Let me use round df column, and I want to make it one decimal place. All right. Let's see if it will work. Now let's look at about this thing. So you can see that we've literally rounded it up. Instead of like performing or doing it one by one, we can use for loop. You can see how for loop can help us in just making our work actually very efficient, right? So I can just put out the list. If we have like, let's say 10 of the numerical variables, it will be hectic doing it one by one. So you can just use for loop to loop over it and perform the operation. So this column now will pick each of the column that we have here and then replace this thing here and then replace it here and then perform it on it. Go to the next one, replace this, and then so you can see how easy it is using programming languages to do analysis. All right. So we've done that already. We've been able to like round it up. So our data frame is looking clean and actually easy on the eye. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is to extract the different elements in our date variable. Okay, so I want to start extracting it. So extracting date time elements. So the first thing I want to extract from this is what? I want to extract the month. Okay, I want to extract the month. So to extract it, you have to create a new variable for it. So because the value you are extracting is going to come from each of the rows, so you need to like pass it into a new variable. All right. So I'll come here and say df, and then the column we have here is date column, and then what follows it actually, because you have to like the same way we usually do df.columns, and then we do dot str.string is the same thing we are going to do here. So we'll say .dt, right? Remember when we want to convert our columns to lowercase, we use .str, which give you access to different string functions or methods. Now .dt will give you access, will give your column access to different methods or datetime methods. So we have so many of them. I can just come and say month. If I say month, actually, we're going to have just the month number. If I run this now, string series object is not available. Okay, I feel this month does not have a function. Okay, so you can see now that we have the month numbers here. So 12 basically means December. So if you check the first month here is what? 12. The second month here is 8. So we are going to have 8 here. The third month here is 3. The fifth month is 10. So you can see exactly how it is. It basically extracts the different elements, date time elements from this our column. And the reason we can do it is because we've converted this column to a date time. All right. Exactly. Abdul Muiz Sulaiman. The reason why it knows how to do this is because we converted this date variable to date time data type. If we try to use the original data type that it had, which was just objects, I think it was before we have data time, I think it should be objects, right? If you perform this operation now that I just performed, this DT operation, it will give you an error because it doesn't understand the structure of these values here. So converting it to date time variable is very essential because it understands the structure and is able to pass pass, I mean P-A-R-S-E, is able to pass through those values and extract essential details. So in this case, if I use month, if what do you mean two values, patient? If you use month, it's going to give you this. If I use month name, it's going to give us the month name. All right. So even if we don't have the month name here, it will be able to understand the month that we have here, which is 12, and you should be able to know that 12 maps to December, or 12 is December, and let's say 8 is, I think 8 is August, 3rd is March, and all of that. So basically, this is how it returns it for you. Okay, you mean 07? No. It doesn't return it that way. It returns it as a single value. So I think this is basically how it returns it here. So I think there's really no difference there. Just work with this, right? So that's it. You can put month name and it will give you month. So let's see if we can get the different methods. Let's see. BIR. So if you want to know all the things you can do with datetime, you can just check this. Use your DIR function on the DT, and you're going to see everything. You see we have, where's the month again? We have months here. We have month name here. We have nanoseconds. We have frequency. We have hour. We have is leap year. Is month end. Is like we have a lot of things. We have day of the week. We have day of the year. We have day of the week again. We have day name. You can see there are a lot of things you can do with date time variable in Pandas. So this is the time series stuff. Although time series is a different aspect of data science, but this is how you can work with date time data type in Pandas. All right. So let's just proceed. Now you can explore all these things on your own. We're just going to work with some of them. All right. So let's say we want to like extract the month name. So let's say month name. So we just don't want to extract it. We want to pass it into a new variable. So I'll say df dot month, and then pass it into it. Okay. And then I also want to, if I pass it, you're going to see if I run this here, it has added a new variable here. So we now have the month name for each customer record. So you can know that this particular customer purchased this item in December. This one purchased it in August. This person purchased it in March. So this is going to open new doors to it's going to open doors to different approaches to analyze your data. It's going to help you to understand time patterns, like patterns in terms of time, how much customer are purchasing a product in so and so month, which month has the highest number of customers, which month has the highest number of revenue, and all of that. So it will give you an insight into how you perform your business month-wise. So that's actually a very good thing to do. So we can have df.day. We have the, let me just say, df dates, and we have dt, and we have day. So day is going to give us the day of the month. So 26 basically is 26th of that particular month, right? 26th of December, 5th of what? August, 11th of what? March, and all of that. So we really don't need this, right? You can use it later on, but let's just continue with the other ones that will be important for this particular class. So I think we're going to use day of week. Okay, day of week. So we have day of the week here, but we need the name. We need the name. So how? Let me just check this, because sometimes you'll probably forget the exact method name. So let me just run it. We have day of week here. Okay, we have day name. So it should be day name. All right, day name. So I'm going to have, thank you, Michelle, for that. Shows that we are actually following. Michelle, are you actually following like your Jupyter notebook? Are you following your Jupyter notebook? Day name. So we will have day name. This is a function here. You can see that it will return the day names for us. So we have, right, thank you very much. You can see the importance of following with in our Jupyter notebook. It will even help you to like explore more stuff. So you see that we have day name Tuesday, Saturday, Monday, Friday. So you can now attach it to your data frame. So I will say day. So if I run this now, you see I'm going to have day here. So I have Tuesday here, I have Saturday, I have Monday. So this basically would give you more analysis options, right? So I think we're just going to like just stop there for the meantime, and then like look at how we can perform different visualizations, right? So let's start with line chart. Now that we have all this data available, let's see how we can perform or create a line chart with our data. All right. So come here and say line chart. Creating a line chart. All right. So to create the line chart, what do we need? We need our x values, and we need what? Our y values. So our x values are the horizontal values, and our y values are the vertical values. So basically what we're going to do, we're going to and what we want to do now, I want to create a line chart to show us how much customers purchased a particular product in each month. So you just want to know the performance of each month, basically. All right. So which month has the highest number of sales? That's the question here. So the question might be, your manager might ask you, hey, Michelle, which month had the highest number of sales? So we want to know which particular month. And after you figure out that month, you probably start asking reasons. Why did we have so much sales in this month? So it might be because of the season, right? Maybe because what you are selling is like umbrellas and maybe a lot of all these rain accessories, things that help you during rainy season. And there's a particular month where we record a very like high number of rainfall. So it's very like normal to have people make higher purchase, or for you to have higher purchase in that month. So, but sometimes you might not even need to ask much question. You automatically expect that, okay, it's possible that it's because of this season that we are having so much sales. But in cases where it's not obvious, you probably still have to drill down to know why exactly you are having that much sale in this particular month. But let's just proceed. We don't want to go in depth into all of these questions. But there's something I just want to quickly tell us. In data analysis, we have what we call 5 whys. So this is the technique used in data analysis. 5 whys is basically a way to get the underlying reason for something. So if you are able to generate an insight, you should ask the question, why is this so? If you can answer that why, that is your first why. You now ask the second why. Why is this so too? All right. So you continue asking why until you get to the bottom line. So that last 5, once you ask like at most 5 whys, the last answer should be the underlying reason for the initial question you ask. So data analysis is actually a way of probing your data, it's like beating your data so it will confess to you the secrets that you don't know. That's basically what data analysis is, all right? So it's like drilling down to get that particular resource, that oil that you're looking for. All right, so let's just proceed. So first thing we're going to do, we want to like work with the month variable. So obviously we're going to extract the month. So we'll come here and say month equals to df month. And to get the count of month, what are we going to use? We want to get the count for each month. What method am I going to use here? Thank you very much. Thank you, Abdullah. Abdul Muiz, for that. Should be months, not months. So you use value count. I'm going to use value count. So value count should give us value count actually. Should give us this a series. All right, it should give us a series. So this is the index, and this is the value. So now you're going to actually take me through how we are going to work with this. All right, based on what we've learned initially. How can I extract the values and how can I extract the index from this our data now? I've not gotten any answer yet. I think I showed us exactly how we can like get our different our index and values from a series. So remember that you're actually working with series now. So how can you actually extract the values and extract the index and pass it into a variable? Right. So that's very possible because that is how we will need to extract these variables here. Yeah. Joanne Luxin, you are close, but that is not exactly. So because of time, I'm basically just going to show us how we can do that. All right. Let's just. So how we'll do this is basically just using our values. Come here to say mon.values. It's going to return the values for us as a list. You can see it's mon.value. If I come and say mon.index, it will return the index for us as a list. Very simple and straightforward. All right. So, like, I understand that we have been covering a lot, but please try as much as you can to be refreshing your memory so you don't forget all of these things. So we're going to make this our what? Y variable, and we're going to make this our what? X variable. All right, but I think I need to run something. I need to run this CSV file. All right, so we now have X values and our Y value. How do we work with this now? So we'll basically use just our plots. Now this one we now use our plots, plots.what plots, and we have what we're going to have first. I think we're going to have our y variable followed by, or our x variable followed by our y variable. So I'm going to come and say x and then y. But before we do that, I actually want to like define the size, setting my figure size. So I'm going to say plot.figure. I'm going to say fig size equals to, which pixels am I going to use? Let me use 10 and 5. All right, so I want it to be large enough. So I'll just set my other variables. I want my color to be green. I want my line to be, my line style to be dash, dash, double dash. Line style to be double dash. I want my line width to be, let's say 0.9. 0.9. I think I want a marker too as well. I want my marker to be asterisk. And then I want a transparency. So alpha is transparency. So let's say 0.6. So this thing is too long for this place. Let me just remove it and then put them here and then break it at this point. All right, so I think this is easier to read. So this is my plot. So I've made my plot. Now I have to like just say, define my labels. X label, I would say months. I'll say Y label should be month frequency, no, count actually. Should be count or frequency, anyone. Frequency. And then my title can be let's see, sales frequency per month. All right, so I feel this is everything. So I'll come and just say plot.show and then plot my graph. Okay, so what exactly? Y label. All right, so you can see my graph here. So I have a graph. So you can see we have sales frequency per month as a title. So from this graph, you automatically know that which month here has the highest number of sales from what you're seeing. I think this should be a very intuitive thing. Which month here, from what you're seeing, has the highest number of sales? Exactly. So you can see how important visualization is. You're going to have September. I'm going to send you this data set. So I actually changed the data set for this because the initial data set had a little issue. So I'll just send it now to the. So what you do is just to delete the other one and replace this with it. As simple as that. Let me see if I can send them now. Send it now. Okay. Just give me a minute here. Okay. All right. So it's on the group. You can actually just replace it with what you have already. This one is actually has lesser number of rows and to be faster for you. And I actually made some editing. I actually formatted the data basically. So, all right. So yeah, this is what you're going to get if you follow everything we've been doing. So I can actually rotate my axis if I want, but based on this, it's fine. I'll just like increase my figure size to 12, and you can see it has been spaced out very well. So this is actually very neat. You can save it and all of that. So that's it for creating a line chart. This is how we change, we can perform line chart on our data set. All right. Okay, how do we get the month to show chronologically, like from January to December? You can do that, but you have to do it manually. The thing is that how Pandas sort data is usually you can sort data according to like the highest value or you can sort data according to the alphabet. So no matter how you sort the data, it will not give you the chronological order. So if you want to get the chronological order, you can just like write it out. Like, well, you just have to come here, and if you get your month index, you just say y equals to January, February, March, like that. So you just write it out and then come to X and then write the corresponding values out. So when you get that from your series, you can just do that. So let's try to do that. So see February, March, April, May, June, July, August. Because if you try to sort it, you will still not get this chronological order. All right. I feel there's a more efficient way to do this, but just for the sake of time, this is just what came to my head. So August, September, October, November, and what? December. So this is basically how you manually do it. All right. Because what you have here is a series. Your month value here. Let me print out the month value here. Your month value here is a series. All right. So if you want to sort your values, you can sort them either by the values here. I think you can also sort index as well. So whether you sort the index or sort the values, you still not get that chronological order. So I actually think I remember a way to do it, but I can't remember. I think there's a way to do it, but I can't remember it off the top of my head at the moment. So if I do that, I'm going to let us know. But for the sake of time, this is basically how you get these are basically how you get it to align with the days or the month of the year. So you can just put the figures there and just get it arranged chronologically. All right. So yeah, that's it. That's basically for your assignments. You'll be required to do that chronologically. So you can either follow this manual method or maybe research and figure out how you might be able to do it more efficiently. So this is how you can create a line chart from your data sets and you can present it. You can save it. All right, the same way we learned how to save it in yesterday's class. Yeah. So let's proceed. So we're going to now look at how you can do the same thing for days of the week. All right, you can do the same thing for days of the week. But let's look at how we can create a bar chart quickly. Creating a bar chart. We're rounding off. We're almost done. We've covered most of what we need to cover for today. So we're going to use the categories column, which should be DF. I think let's check to confirm. Category here. So we want to know the product categories. Which one had the highest number of sales? So we'll say categories. All right. Dot value count. And then come and say X equals to categories dot what? Index. And then Y is what? Categories dot values. All right. So same way you do your line, you just say plot dot bar. Then you have your I think we have our height and we have our just put X and Y here. For bar we have X and we have height. All right, so we have X and we have height. So you can just put all the other things there. You can format it as you want, but let's just leave it like that. Let's just make our color green for consistency. All right. So we'll say plot.title. Can say category with the highest, or can say sales frequency by category. All right, so anything that you feel, I should put this in here. So plot.x label. X label of the what? Our category, and our plot.y label will be what? Our frequency. All right. So that's going to be it, and then we come and say plot.show. So what is categories. Okay, should be category. So nobody corrected me on that. Where's my dataset again? Category. So this is our bar chart. Very simple, very demure, very nice. Right, you can change the figure size if you want, if you wish. You can come and say plot dot figure, and then we're going to say fig size equal to 10 by 6. Right, I think that's too much. 10 by 6. The height should be higher actually. Let's say 10 by 8. All right, so if you want to make the bars smaller, you can actually do that. Make this to be 6 by 4. All right, so that's it for that. So you can see that electronics has the highest number of category or highest number of sales. So in your company, you can now like conclude that, okay, clothing is actually not performing well in terms of sales. Electronics is performing very well. All right. And books is the second top performer. Then we have home decor. So clothing is performing very, very, very low. So this should be a point of concern for your for you as a data analyst and for your manager. So you can start asking the question, why is clothing? You can take it to your manager and tell them that this is what I found out from the analysis, that our clothing category is not really performing well in sales. So we need to know why it's not performing well. Is it like the customers don't like the clothing we are giving out, or why exactly? So you start asking questions, you start making research, you start consulting with the marketing team, collaborating on all of that. So this is how analysis impacts the entire business. So results you get from your analysis, it's very essential. It kind of drives the decision of the whole company. All right. So that's basically for bar charts. So we're going to just see how we can do it for scatter plot. So I think we did scatter plot as well. So we say scatter plot, and then we're going to look at histogram as well. So let's look at scatter plots. Well, let's look at histogram first. Plotting histogram. How am I doing here? So for histogram, it's actually pretty straightforward. You are working on a single variable as we've been doing. So you don't need to start like segmenting it into values and index. You just call it directly. So you can come and say our value equals to, okay, in this case, we want to work on the price data set, so the price variable. So I'll come and say price. I want to do the distribution of our price, basically. So I'll come and say plot.hist, and I'll put price here. All right. So I can say bean output price. Now say beans, it should be, I want like 50 beans. All right. And I want edge color to be white. Edge color to be white. And I want the color of my beans to be green for consistency with the other ones we've done so far. This is our histogram. You can call me and do I can do my normal X axis, Y axis stuff, but because of time, let me just go straight to saying plot.show. To plot that, we're going to have an error because I didn't close my bracket well. Name error, price is not defined. Let me check my data set. Okay, we have price here actually. So why is price not defined? Okay. People are not checking me again. What's happening? I need a second. I made a mistake. This should be value instead of price. All right. So I run this, and then I'm going to get this. Now there's a problem with this particular histogram. I want you to just from what you're seeing, tell me what you think the issue is. Can someone just tell me, just tell me what you think the issue is from? So the reason why I ask this kind of question is just to stretch your thinking. It's not necessarily, I don't necessarily expect you to get it. I just want you to think, like, what do you think the problem is? Okay, yeah, people are saying something which is nice. Okay, but nobody has gotten it, but it's something we've done already. I just want, there's something I'm looking for particularly, an answer. Okay, because of time, basically what we have here is an outlier issue. So we have a price that is very, very high, that compared to the other prices, you'll probably not even see them here, right? So this particular bar is that is that particular price. It has a very high value, so which is an outlier basically. So you see the importance of treating. Okay, Swift Clover, thank you for that. I don't know if you said that before I made mention of it, but yeah, you're correct. It's an outlier issue basically. So this is one of the reasons why we deal with outliers. So you not have this kind of problem. So you now manually check that particular column. So the reason why we're having this problem is because we did not do data cleaning. You can see. So you see the importance of data cleaning, right? You'll be having rubbish results. So let's just go to this particular column and check it out. Because of time, we didn't do data cleaning. So let's see df.price n largest. All right, so let me say 5. N largest. So you can see now that there is actually an outlier. We have this price here, 17,000, and we have this price 7,890, which are very, 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 very high values. All right. So we will actually want to deal with these outliers. Let's just remove them for now. Okay. So we can actually see. But the way you deal with your outlier will determine on the kind of data you're working with. So domain knowledge will be very helpful. So you don't just remove outliers like that. Sometimes those outliers are like necessary information that you have to know, right? So the question you ask yourself is why do we have these outliers? But because of time, you will just remove this thing. I just want to show you what how histogram is going to look like. So how do we remove this? We're going to look at the index. We're going to basically drop those rows. So we have these 2 rows here. These are the rows, and these are the index, row index. We have 78 and 64. So can someone quickly tell me how we're going to do this particular operation? How we're going to drop, what function are we going to use? Quickly. All right, so we're going to just do df.drop, all right, and we specify the axis, the drop. So the axis in this case is going to be 0 by default, so we don't need to, actually don't need to like specify any axis, right? But we'll just go straight to put the index. So the index we want to drop is 78 and what? 64. So these are the indexes that we actually want to drop. We want to drop index 78 and we want to drop index what? 64. But let's see the 10th largest. Let's see if, okay. So let's actually drop 359 as well. 359. But let's drop 64 and 78 and 64 first. So you see what we're going to have. So this should be in place. This should be df, right? So if I come here and I run this again, you see that we're having something like this now. All right. So we are still having some outliers here, basically. So all these bars that we see now, they were actually hidden because of that outlier we had before. So now they are coming out. So let's drop this 321 and 221. So that is 17. So we have to just come here and we can't do this again because our 3, 5, 9 and 17. We'll drop that and we run this. We're going to see that our histogram is actually taking shape. All right, taking good shape. So we have one here again. This last one here. Let's see. That should be this 190. So I just want to show you a histogram, right? So sometimes you don't necessarily have to drop all these values because they might have some meaning. Should have dropped that. No. Why did I drop 190? It should be 467. So you can see now this is our histogram. So this histogram shows us the distribution of our price data. So at the center is our mean. So you can see that the highest number of the price with the highest frequency is 80, around 80. So this 80 might be $80. So this is the mean here. So most of our purchases are around the mean, basically. So let's say between 60 to 100. Most of our purchases lies between $60 to $100. So it gives you an idea of the price range that our customers of the sales data, basically. So, and you can see it's almost normally distributed. It has if you draw a bell shaped here, it's actually skewed a little, but it has a seemingly normal distribution as well. So that is the purpose of histogram. So you can use it to assess your numerical variables, the distribution of your numerical variables, and to just get an idea of how distributed they are. All right. So we are rounding up already, but let's just see the last. So we have pie charts. So we're going to use I think we're going to use pie charts for the categorical data. I just want to show us how pie chart will do that. I think we did that in yesterday's class. So we use the same category here. Use same categories. All other categorical data. So we use the same thing here basically. So I'll just come here and copy, paste, creating a pie chart. So what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to change this to pi, and then the label should be x actually, and y should be this. Then we should have auto percent stuff. So we should have auto auto PCT, and then we have this particular formatting should be percent 1.1f, percent 1.1ff, percent. I'm right. I think f percent. So you can always look this up if you're confused, right? So you can have your title and all of that. So pie chart usually don't have okay, this should be closed here. Pie chart usually I don't think it has to really have labels here. Okay, you can have labels, but it doesn't really make sense to have labels for pie chart, so you remove it. Right, so you can increase your pie charts. Let's say 10 the figure. You can increase it as you want. So you can put shadow, let's put shadow true. All right. So this is basically it for pie chart. So I believe by now you've gotten an idea of how to create charts. So what we basically wanted to do today is on how to use our data set in creating different charts and working with them. Along the way, we looked at some other things like working with date time, extracting date time value, extracting. Okay, Gideon, you asked if the outliers are important, what then should we do with it instead of dropping it? If the outliers are important, you don't drop it. You just include it in your analysis. All right, you don't drop it. You include it in your analysis, and then you like kind of explain exactly what the outliers signify. So let's say, for example, you are trying to analyze the salary of different. Let's say you have a group of persons, or let's say you have students basically, and there's a particular variable, which looks at the, let's say, pocket money per month for each student. All right. So let's say for majority of the students, the pocket money was around monthly was around, let's say, 50 to 100,000 naira. All right. So almost every student had their pocket money within that range. Now we now have a particular student or two particular students their pocket money is around 1 point something M. Now that is an outlier, but it doesn't mean that it is a wrong value, right? The reason why we usually treat outliers is because most times outliers are a result of wrong input, or let's say mistake when inputting our data. But if you understand, that's why I usually emphasize domain knowledge. If you understand what you're working on, you should be able to know how that particular value came about. You should be able to. So, data scientists, you are expected to be flexible in your thinking. All right, it's not everything that you would learn as a skill, technical skill. There's something that should come as a result of understanding that domain that you're working with. All right, so it will inform your decisions and all of that. So the person that is earning 1.2 M should you would not necessarily want to remove them because they're still part of the student. They still give you a realistic or real information about those group of students. So you have to include it. But the problem now is that it might actually skew the charts you're going to be creating. So there are actually ways around it that you can actually use to include it in your chart, right? But that's not the point of the discussion. So the point of the discussion is that outliers are not always bad, but whenever they come, you should understand the context in which it is happening and all of that. Probably you might ask questions, right? Or you might try to look at the source of the data and ask questions. Oh, I'm having this kind of data here. Is it as a result of wrong input, or is it actually a reflection of what exactly is happening? So that is basically just it about that. So data analysis is very broad, trust me, it's very, very broad. There are a lot of things that you might not even capture in a particular period of time. You would come to understand it as you start working, as you start like exploring, and as you start putting the things that you learn into practice. When you open yourself or when you start gaining experience, these kind of things will begin to make sense to you and all of that. But just keep these things at the back of your mind. So that's going to be it for today's class. That's going to be for today's class. We're going to quickly recap what we've done so far today. So today we looked at how we can create charts from a data set. So we used a different data set, which is retail transaction data set. We imported it, looked at the data set, understood it, right? And then we tried to like clean the data set, the columns, rename the columns, and all of that. And then we extracted the date. We kind of converted a date variable to a date time variable so we can work with it. All right. And we also like figure out how we can segment our variables into different data frames based on the data type, so we can perform some analysis based on some data type specific analysis on them, like correlation. We also looked at how we can convert a particular column data type from one data type to another, and how we can do that for several columns. And we also looked at how to extract the different date time elements from our variable, and all of these bar chart, line chart, and all of that. So we looked at a lot today. The video will be made available for you. Don't worry. So you can go through what we've done, because there are a lot of things that were said in this class, and it will take you some time to digest them. All right. And trust me, this is not an exhaustive class on data visualization. So I can actually not answer every of the questions, because if we do that, we will not move forward. All right. So I encourage you to research, to look up questions, and to consult other resources in case you have questions, right? We have a lot. We are still looking at machine learning, which is another entire different aspect of data science. So with this thing that we've looked at so far, I believe you should be able to build up from it. You should be able to build up from what we've done so far. As long as you have this foundational knowledge, you can add other things to it and just like expand your skill sets and also fill in your knowledge gap. All right. So there are a lot of questions you have. Yes, I know. But the truth is that we can't look at every single thing, because these are specific questions. All right. I just hope you understand that, and I hope you are able to get value from this class. And by now you should be comfortable with creating charts and working with data sets and using matplotlib and pandas to work with data set and all of that. So that's going to be it for this class. We're going to call it a day and draw the curtain close at this point. So if you have a question, please raise your hand, and I'm going to give you the floor. So Mujib Oyile, ask your question. Mujib, you raise your hand. Please ask your question. You're on mute. Okay. Manfred Emmanuel, ask your question. You're on mute.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Okay, sir. My question is, I recall us using the group by function in our last class. Can we also, in this case, use it to compare two variables and then visualize it? Because from our examples in class today, we didn't really look at it.
Okay, what you basically mean is bivariate analysis.
Yes, bivariate analysis, sir.
Yeah, definitely you can actually. You can, and it's going to be basically using group by function. So in this case, what you're going to be using mostly, what you're going to compare mostly is a categorical variable with a numerical variable.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it won't make sense comparing a categorical variable with another categorical variable. The only time I can think of doing that comparison is when you're performing statistical analysis and you want to know if there's any association between these two variables. So in this case, you use chi-square, test of association, or all of those statistical tests. But when it comes to visualization, I don't think there is a way to represent two categorical variables, right? But mostly it is usually you use a categorical variables, and if you've done Tableau or you've done Power BI, there's actually a name we call it. We call the numerical variables measures. All right, we call them measures because that is what you are slicing your categorical variables with. So that is how you represent these things in a chart. So you can either use the categorical variables alone, or you compare them with another numerical variables. All right. So that's basically how you can do bivariate analysis with chart. So what you do now is instead of just doing values count, you use group by basically, and you use group by for a categorical variable and then the aggregate function on the numerical variable, and you get a series. So that series, you can now extract the values and the index and then put it in your chart, and then you get what you want to get. I hope that's clear.
That's very clear, sir. Thank you very much.
All right. Gospel Michael, please ask your question. You're on mute. Gospel Michael, you raised your hand. Edith Young Moses, please go ahead and ask your question. I'm unmuting you right away. You're on mute now, Edith Young Moses. Ask your question, please. Okay. I don't know what's happening, but I think we just have to call it a day at this point. Thank you very much, everyone, for your patience so far, for sticking with us up to this point. We are going to see by God's grace next week on Saturday. I think we're probably going to start by 3 p.m., but I'm going to check my schedule and get back to you, because I'm thinking we use 3 hours for next class because of the volume of work we have ahead. So we will be starting with machine learning in the next class. Get yourself ready. If possible, you can. I'll send the materials before the next class, so you can just go through it. And class rep and assistant, please remind me to send video resources to help you understand machine learning before the next class as well. And also remind me to send you a cheat sheet for matplotlib, right? So I think I have not done that for Pandas. I'm not sure, but just remind me of these things so I don't forget. So your assignment will be made available today or tomorrow morning, and it's going to be as usual to last at the end of the week, Friday, and then be able to submit it before the deadline. And I'm still looking at the issue someone raised. I think it was Manuel regarding week 2 assignment. I'm going to get back to you. And please, class rep, please remind me of that. If I don't respond to that today, please remind me. So we're going to call that a day with this. I really hope we are getting value from this program. I actually genuinely want to know, right? I hope you're actually getting value and you are making a lot of progress on your own end. And assessing yourself, you should be able to see a significant growth from between now and 2 months back. Like you have been able to see a significant growth given your consistency. And that is basically what I want. Like I just want to see you develop your skills, to see you in a year, in 2 years, like at least working as a data scientist or a data analyst or whatever it is that you needed this thing for. At least you should be achieving those goals and all of that. That's the aim of this. Sacrificing your time every weekend is not a small thing. Time is like one of the most important assets you have. So bringing it out for this thing is a whole lot from your end. So I want to know, I want to be sure that you're actually gaining something in exchange for your time that you are putting in here. So please just, as usual, just let us know what you've gotten from this class. And I will also appreciate any feedback whatsoever that you might have. And yeah, thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your day and have a great week. Ciao and see you next week.